How do appraisers figure out how much your house is worth? This video is going to be especially handy for those that are putting upgrades into their house, hoping that it increases the home's value, because it might not be what you think. There's three main ways that appraisers arrive at a value for the property. This video is going to be talking about the sales approach. The sales comparison approach basically looks at comparable sales over the course of the last 6 to 12 months for properties that are similar to yours. So if you spend 100 grand putting gold-plated countertops in your newly upgraded home, that doesn't mean that you're going to get an extra $100,000 in valuation. Now, if all of your other neighbors have gold-plated countertops and you're the only one with vinyl, then yeah, it's probably going to make a big effect on you. But most people don't have gold-plated countertops in their homes. So spending that extra money doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to increase your home's value by the same proportion. So what the appraiser is going to do is they're going to identify 3 to 6 properties that are similar to yours in square footage, size, lot size, number of bedrooms and bathrooms, amenities like whether it has a pool or not, condition and quality is a really big one as well, and the year that it was built. They're not usually going to appraise a 3-year-old house the same way that they would with a 30-year-old house or an 80-year-old house. Sometimes they might have to if that's all of the comps that are available. And so what they do is they do what's called adjustments. And they'll make adjustments for items that aren't perfectly equal. So if one house is very, very similar to yours, but they have an extra half bathroom, then they're going to assign a dollar value to that adjustment to make sure that it's equal in the eyes of the numbers, the data. Appraisers are extremely data driven, but at the end of the day, it's still an opinion of value. They use an abundance of data to come up with an opinion. This is where VA loans really shine, because before that report is even published, if their opinion is wrong, I'm just kidding. If the appraiser thinks that the valuation is going to come in less than the contract purchase price, they pull what's called Tidewater. Now, Tidewater is a really great concept because it gives everybody a heads up that, hey, the data that I've got is not going to support the contract purchase price, what you're paying for it. So now we have the opportunity to provide additional comparable sales that they might not have considered. And sometimes it doesn't work out perfectly, but oftentimes it comes in close enough to make sense to where you can start negotiating with the seller and figuring out something so the deal doesn't fall apart. I've actually never had a transaction fall apart due to a VA appraisal, but I have had them fall apart due to conventional and FHA appraisals. Appraisers don't just come up with the value of the property either. They also are the lender's eyes and ears on the property itself to make sure that it meets minimum property requirements, or MPRs. And if something is insufficient, like it's missing smoke detectors, then the appraiser will write their report, they'll provide the valuation, they'll do everything, and then they'll say that the property is subject to repairs or subject to completion if it's a new construction loan. That way, we don't get an appraisal that's a failure. Like, they don't deny the appraisal like that. They just say, here's what needs to be done in order for this appraisal to pass. Like, this is the valuation of the property subject to these repairs or this completion. And so that gives us the opportunity to go back to the agents and say, hey, the appraiser said that there's a broken window. We've got to get that taken care of. Or, hey, the appraiser said that there's a missing fire alarm. Can you make sure that that gets installed? Once that gets done, then we send the order back to the appraiser to go visit the property again. And then ideally, they come back and they say, all right, you're good to go. Property is good as is. And ideally, at value. At value just means that the appraised value meets or exceeds the contract purchase price. That's a pretty good example or synopsis of what you can expect for appraisals and what you can expect for how an appraisal can affect your future home loan transactions.